Oh, good afternoon again. It's Dave Sclavi here, Mercer Locomotive Works. This is 1361, of course, and I thought I'd go over some of the features of the locomotive, show some close-ups of some of the things that I've been working on. The headlight, the bell, the sand dome, and so on, all these different little puzzles, as Jack Bodevin calls them, which are a lot of fun to make and sometimes quite aggravating, but yeah, we still did them. Just recently we've been working on the drop coupler pilot, which is one of the roughest pieces to make. I have some other little details to put on the marker lights, which will go up here, and do some wiring on those, and some boiler supports or pilot supports that came down from this area with a step on them, and of course the sheet metal covering on the front. Then from there I'm going to go back and do the cab, because people keep talking about the cab. Where's the cab? Where's the cab? Well, I'm going to make the cab. Excuse me. And then I have to do the running board on the other side, some other features or some other details in the back. In case you're wondering about this guy, this is my friend. His name is Charles Nelson Corrigan. Or if you want to just use his initials, CNC. Now, he doesn't talk very much. He's kind of bashful. Now, he's been here the last several videos that I've done, but first chance I had to get him on camera. But maybe we can get him to talk in a little while. But in any event, he's my friend, and he's a railroader. He likes trains, and he'll be visiting us from time to time. So I'm going to move on now to showing some features of the 1361
videos. We'll start off here with the headlight. This is the headlight that were used on the modern Pensy Power, and they were installed on the locomotives in 1940. Some of their idea was, I guess, that if you notice that the reflector's way in the back, well, I guess the reflector also lit up the number boards. Now, the features on this headlight, the one I built here, is that this all brass, of course, and this is a real piece of glass in the front, which I described in one of my writings about how I cut that glass. These are real glass sides, and the numbers are brass etchings, which I etched from both sides, from the front side and then a reverse from the back, and etched into the middle. They're 25 thousandths brass, and then they're sandwiched between a piece of clear glass on the outside and a frosted piece, which I'd sandblasted on the inside, and they're glued together, and they work pretty well. Of course, the headlight was painted white on the inside, and then this dome piece is actually a covering, and this is a piece of projector, and that runs and these are just for heavy-duty projector. This piece here is the main fuse box, but I'm using it as a junction box, and I don't know if you could see it. I'll see if I can come in close. But you can see the PRR lettering, which I etched on there. Now the same thing goes for this piece down here. You can see the etchings on the square junction box. Now that on the front, this is a Mosley Generator, which the guts are out of. I don't know what happened to them, but I got these from Francis way back about 30 years ago. I had at one time about 15 of them. And this is the number board that John Hudak made for me. It's the only piece on here that's CNC, and these are the proper colors. This is Tolladine red and synthetic buff is this color, the yellow. This is the big platform. A lot of guys say, well, is that platform so big? Well, yes, it was that big. It came right off the drawings, and that's exactly scale. This is the drop coupler pilot, which we covered earlier this week. Over here, this is the bell. I got this from Doug Edwards out in, I guess he's in Iowa, Midwest somewhere. Anyway, he's on the chassis, and I modified this from a harp round stand bell with a little neck in the middle, and I dropped it, lowered it down. And the way they had it made was that there was a scallop out here to clear the bell. That's right off the drawings, and the bell's bases were square, and these little things up here were, I don't know, they must have had some kind of springs or something on them, And of course they had these little trunnion things, and this was the air line. The bells didn't, when they were air ringing, they did not swing like this. They were stationary. There was an internal bell ringer that, some mechanism that rang the bell by air, and then of course they had an emergency, they had a strap or a wire or whatever. These are the clean outs, which if you notice there's a space around there. They're actually applied from the back to make them look like they were actually on the boiler, but they're applied to the jacketing. And this is the steam dome. Of course these open up, put sand in them, and it's covered on the bottom is this piece of brass that's silver soldered to this heavier casting. And I haven't made the pipes or the sanders yet, but this is this little feature here with these 4 little rivets. There was actually a reinforcement behind there, I guess, to give it some strength. Now these are the I used Barry Haig's super scale cover, but I made my own box because I didn't. But not that I don't like Barry's, but his are generic. They come in the center. But if you look at a box, and also this is usually like a T-shape, which I got from Howard Gorin. Center. But I covered this on one of my writings that it's actually a box behind there, but you can fill it in the mechanism. Of course, all works when it goes. This is a snifter valve. Behind there is a snifter, and of course this is some of the other details. And this that lubricator line, running boards, of course, a scale diamond plate. These are the inspection ports for setting the valves. This is connected right at the moment. This is the steam dome that I made used the spinning to make that. This is the pump which I got from Mosley Locomotive Works, and I understand from Joe Tansky that they're made in China, and it runs pretty good. Hopefully before the end of the year here I'll be able to fire the locomotive up, not run it, but fire it up outside here, outside the shop, and check it for the air pressure, see what that'll do. This is the famous water glass. We won't talk about, we won't say nothing about it, but it works great, and I've never had a problem. And these are check valves that I replaced, some LS, some Barry Haig's. I had all different ones. These seem to work the best, and I got these from American Model Engineering. These are the doors that my son Dan made. One flick of the lever, open. Now they're out of scale, of course, but they're practical. That's what we want, practicality in locomotives. This is my throttle, and I don't like the little notches, because what happens is it gets stuck, and in an emergency you can shut it. And you're constantly running this all the time different. You're constantly adjusting it. 3 valves on the top here. The center one's the blower. This is the cylinder cocks, and this is the steam pump for the injectors. That's all you need. These are, and I'll get up on top here so you can see them. These are the air gauges. They're dual gauges. You see a red hand and a white hand, red hand and a white hand, and they're for the air brakes. One is for the automatic brake, for the main air. Red one here is for the main reservoirs. The white one is for the equalizing reservoir. The white one over on this gauge is for the train line, and the red one is for the straight air, which shows no pressure. This will show 150 pounds, and the white ones will always be, when the brakes are released, at 70 pounds, and then reductions of that. Now this over on this side is the brake levers, and I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a detent right there. So when I hit that detent, I can just pull it back. When I feel it hit that, I stop, and then that's a brake pipe reduction. This is just variable pressure for the straight air. Scale lettering. It's painted on. It's not a decal. Don't like to use decals on the locomotives anyway. I'll use them on cars. This is the drains, and also let air out. This is the hatch, which was pretty good. A lot of work on that. And of course the tank inside is all stainless. These are to lift the tender up. I don't use them for that, of course. My son Dan made the ladder. These are my marker lights, lost wax castings. I made the flag holders. I guess that's it for the K4. There's nothing on the other side yet. The other side's kind of blank. Now what I'm going to do in the next portion of this video, I'm going to show you how I set the eccentric crank. And I'm going to set up to make that video